What is going on, you guys? My name is Rayge, and we are back today with an exciting video here on the full upgraded version now of Big Apocalypse. If you recall, to get his later stages, you have to go through the Apocalyptic difficulty for his respective saga. Now we have all 23 characters at the requirements, and we're ready to get this party started. So having said that, let's get right to it. First note is requiring Darkhold team. Make sure you guys have your Morgan Le Fay using an ISO 8 striker, just because she does a boatload of more damage in inflicting that upon the enemies, especially when they have the vulnerables, and really taking a really heavy dose of damage when there's an opportunity presents itself. First and foremost, we're up against a this could be a pretty frustrating wave to begin with, just because we have a zombie Iron Man with Hela combination. We also have aspects of the Infinity Watch here, as well as characters like Emma Frost, Lady Deathstrike, and Mr. Sinister. So definitely got to be aware and paying attention here. Now we start things off in that left corner there, just because aiming for Hela first. If we take her down, we can take down Greg and the zombie. And thankfully, the way our characters have been leveled since then, even though none of our characters are gear tier 18, the gear tier 17 helps a lot with a T2 level 5 blue, just giving them all statistical increases. It works really well for especially this first wave. With Hela and the zombie Iron Man taken care of, we should get a chance now with Doctor Strange Heartless to wipe the board here. Adam Warlock will likely be the last man standing, just because he has his revive, setting us up for the next spawn of enemies. This is a pretty easy wave to deal with, just because not really many of them are damage dealers, but just be mindful of Falafel with the cleanse, and obviously Madam Pryor can do some decent damage, but they're all pretty squishy overall. No concerns here. And after you clean up, this last wave here is just definitely another mixture. Nothing crazy, no damage dealers. Emma Frost, Moondragon, Adam Warlock, they're all really supportive characters. Zombie Iron Man's the only potential target if Hela was able to survive, but we took her down at the very beginning, so no issues whatsoever. Next up is the Unlimited X-Men team here for Note 2. Very at the beginning, guys, the one thing to be mindful of is making sure that we control and stop that Spider Weaver, just because if she can get her charges off, it could be very dangerous. So you want to start things off with Dazzler actually activating the ultimate there, so that way ability block is placed on Weaver, and that way she's not using charges, and then we finally clean up the right side and focusing on key characters. Absolutely love Gambit's passive attacks and damage. Weaver goes down, and we're gonna get like a nice little side relief, because that really leaves a lot of these weaker enemies here. Save the Sunfire ultimate for the next wave that drops, which is now, because you want to use it on as many enemies as you can. So that's why I held back there. At 7 out of 16 enemies, after finishing Ghost Spider here, it's going to spawn the next wave. So this one's actually really quick if you're really good with the abilities there. And then really, Kestrel is the big one that you should be focusing for at the very end. But this is a very smooth node, because we're up against with some really dated characters that we're up against. And so as long as we focus on the key ones like Weaver, this one's no issues whatsoever. Okay, here we go. Third note is the Gamma team. So we're going to go ahead, use Red Hulk on the right side there, just to turn rewind. This one's pretty straightforward, but we just need to be mindful. There's some synergies with Deathseed as well as Guardian, so definitely some key targets. But thankfully, everyone's pretty squishy, as you can see from the debuffs that we're placing on this team. And the timing of Red Hulk couldn't be any better. You should be able to clean up almost the entire first wave once that goes. And at that moment there as well, there's going to be a pretty devastating wave that spawns with Icarus, Surfer, Phoenix. Ideally, it would be great to use the Red Hulk special to aim for that right side again, just to compound as much as that much damage. Controlling the Icarus, because there is going to be a Cersei that spawns later on, so obviously finishing him off is a priority for this wave. Now, you probably have to face Phoenix and take her down, summoning Dark Phoenix. You'll probably have to deal with the damage, but it thankfully isn't too crazy. So as long as we're still focusing on getting through Colossus and Phoenix, and again, just consistently making sure that your damage is sticking on that right side with Surfer and Icarus, because those are characters you do not want to go into the next wave with us. And just like that, thanks to the retaliation passive charges of She-Hulk, she was able to actually finish off and take care of Icarus. 4 out of 13 enemies remaining, so we're looking pretty good here. Oh, my apologies, guys. I thought there was a Cersei, but that's okay. Just made the node even easier by not having her with the synergy of Icarus. And thankfully, we followed a good strategy in focusing him and taking down Surfer. So now to just leave these three, no issues whatsoever. Okay, node 4 here, utilizing Deathseed now. So we want to start things off with Magneto, with heavy emphasis on the Gambit, because he has the passive attacks. We want to make sure we take care of business there with him, and that way he's not getting a turn to go. But the moment we start, guys, if you recall with my Death Saga going through the Apocalyptic stages. We really want to take advantage of Deathseed's biggest strength in being the turn me rewind. Having taken down enemies earlier on, they can really chain their attacks and really snowball, and that's really the big strength with this team. Yeah, just look at how much damage that Nemesis did alone with his ultimate, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Just targeting every single enemy that has low HP, having the assisted attacks from Dark Beast, having Archangel using his special to have AoE, boom, boom, boom. Deathseed is just such a smooth experience when we compare this to the other Horseman teams. And once again here with the crazy Nemesis ultimate, completely cleaning the board here, and my goodness, this is just so smooth with this team. And yeah, I think that definitely out of all the Horsemen, this was the quickest one with the attempt, and I really like how it just snowballed the moment you started targeting enemies with low HP. Here we go. This is Note 5 using the 3 strike team members. What I recommend doing at the very beginning is just summoning some minions. That way they give us some natural protection. But this is a very powerful trio. I personally would recommend first using Weaver's ultimate on Nemesis. That way they don't have a heal. And but some big targets we want to be aiming for is the Ghost Rider, just because he's going to be doing passive work. They have some synergies there with Dark Beast, so you definitely want to target him. Yeah, it's crazy how hard my team hit, just because both my Kestrel and Weaver are actually gear tier 18. So if you guys have them built up high, this is probably going to be a joke. I didn't find any issues whatsoever with this node. Weaver absolutely hits like a truck. If she lands an attack, obviously on any enemies that are next to them with the defense, Kestrel is going to ping. Just really powerful team synergy right here between these three. At 7 out of 15 enemies remaining, that is going to spawn the last and final wave here, and nothing too crazy. Similar to what we saw at the very beginning, the mixture here of the Deathseed with the Ghost Rider here. You can see how easily we're just cleaning this up. Amazing value if you brought in any of these characters for Dark Dimension. You're just going to be getting that paid right back. So Note 6, this is the first time where we see a random combination here of the 23 that's provided to us. Thankfully, we still have Weaver, we got Morgan Le Fay, and we got Gambit's passive attacks. This actually becomes a very, very easy node because we have some of the best members of this requirement for Apocalypse. You can see just in a couple attacks there, this first wave is absolutely demolished. We opt to actually save some of Agatha's abilities actually for the next wave, just because there was no use to use it on already crippled team. We have Gambit special here, so we go ahead, we opt to actually block Dark Beast there in that right side. Gambit doing his thing, but my goodness, these guys just hit so hard in this node. And to be fair, many of these characters are tuned up and just way overpowered for what it's going to be, right? I found going through these higher apocalyptic difficulties, it's gotten easier and easier. You'll find Rogue is quite difficult to deal with when she uses her special and ultimate, but once you clean her up, that's going to spawn the last and final wave here. And again, nothing too crazy. We have Gambit's ultimate waiting. Easy cleanup, as you can see. And love the fact that Gambit's gotten a rework too with this new Extreme X-Men team. So really huge, guys, but super easy node here being node 6. Okay, Note 7. So a little bit of a different look here on the required characters that we need to do, but I mean, still okay. Good news is that anytime you take down any of those clones with Deathpool, you know, she's going to be getting the passive attacks, you know, providing that for the team. So it's big. You may want to leave Mr. Negative there just because of the fact that he's going to be giving us those additional tracks. But Wong and Morgan Le Fay being in this first wave are definitely pain points, something to consider. But we have tankiness from both Hulk and Rogue, and then we have Archangel also doing some really decent damage. But you likely will have to get through Wong in the beginning here, so there's not much you can do. Use Rogue special to at least give us some protection, but you have to get through Wong before you can get through everybody else. But again, the passive attacks from Archangel and Deathpool making this a very fun node to actually go through. You can see how fast it goes pretty quick too once you're able to land it. It's going to spawn a couple of these Horseman characters. I would recommend landing an ult on either Red Hulk or Morgan Le Fay, but just see how fast they go. You really want to be, you know, taking advantage of the high damage output that we have from these characters, and then being able to chain all the repetitive passive attacks that we're getting, right? So cleaning up some of these bigger characters, shutting them down, but you can see in the span of not even a minute, we basically clean up the first wave, and it takes us all the way to the very end of the node. This one's super smooth because of the synergistic teams that we have here. And I love how they all can work together even though they're not part of each other's teams. Okay, this is the Node 8 here, including all the horsemen. So this one's really fun too. We start things off with Morgan Le Fay's ultimate, shutting down the Eternals actually, which is huge. But be mindful of the fact that there may not be an ability block on Icarus, but that's okay because if you focus on the right side as I just did there, you can see they're easily cleaned up. This is just such a powerhouse team. I think this was just them really wanting us to see how powerful this horseman team with Apocalypse is. Don't waste the special or ultimate of Rogue. Wait for the next wave to spawn here, but obviously, super fun. We actually get the big version of Apocalypse too, because turn 1 he was able to use his ult, which is huge. I recommend saving the special there for Dr. Doom, so he's not going to be able to get his ultimate off, and then we just focus on that left side. Really, we'll focus and prejudice on Spider Weaver just because of her charges, and then Captain Sam's another good one, but honestly, just look at how hard we're hitting. This is just so smooth. It almost does feel like we're kind of like one-shotting most of these characters, even though this is technically the final node here before the upgraded abilities for Apocalypse. So pretty cool how we get to at least test this out. This is a big nod to all the hard work that we've put in building up these 23 characters. And it's nice that even in this apocalyptic difficulty, it wasn't too bad. It was more so just the feeling out the teams and just being able to finally see all these combinations. This next wave, really the pain point I think is Gambit. Dormammu giving them a second chance obviously is frustrating a bit, but you can just see pretty quickly how fast this goes by just because of the amount of damage we can do, the scaling, all the passive turn meters that we're doing. These guys just don't even get a chance to move really. Honestly, we're just every attack we use, it just hits so hard on them. Even when they have the revive, it doesn't matter whatsoever. Apocalypse is going to be a one-shot, so we go ahead, we aim that for Dormammu, and again, the passive attacks, super beautiful. Special can remove the revive as well, so I decided to focus on Cersei there, but she has that second life that's outside of the revive, so it's really nice that her kit actually allows for that. Last but not least, this last wave here, really Gambit and Kestrel should be the focus, but this is just such a powerhouse team, especially with most folks likely having a Gear Tier 18 Apocalypse at this point. If you guys have taken your time, like myself, going through the stages of trying to get to this point, Baby Apocalypse is still very good. It's the Gear Tier levels that make a big difference, especially when you're going through this. So super easy Node 8. I was definitely expecting it to be harder, but I guess it's a big nod for all the hard work we're putting in, which is huge. And yeah, as you can see from the rewards here, this is pretty big, guys. This basically gives us the 7-star here of Apocalypse, and with all the reds that have been acquired up to date now, really leaving us with the last node here with the empowered abilities. So last but not least, guys, wrapping things up here, we start off with a very formidable foe here, but again, I just didn't expect this to be this smooth. It was a little scary at first, but we go ahead, we start things off with a special, taking away Spider Weaver's revive there, but as well being able to reduce return meter. We have this chance now to use our Apocalypse's ultimate, and does take down Weaver, which is huge. The passive attacks from Archangel once again, clutch. I think focusing Apocalypse is really big in the beginning, so that way he doesn't get his ultimate off, and allowing us to shut him down, but being able to now really take control of this battle, even though it was a team that was quite scary to go up against. You can see we just have so much crowd controlling on this Horseman team, plus Apocalypse, right? Now you don't need to use any of his abilities after using his ult, so we can actually wait here for the next wave, but it just doesn't get as scary as that initial stage. So I mean, we do really good work there. I think where folks can potentially mess up is that beginning part, letting their Apocalypse get a turn. Now this next wave, we are up against a Kang, so that definitely made me nervous. And keep in mind, there's also that zombie Iron Man Hela combination once again, but for sure the priorities is always going to be Gambit and Kang, just because of their damage. But I was actually focused on Red Hulk here just to control him a bit, so that way he's not using his special on us. If you're able to, aiming for the Gregs on the side, because Archangel can get his passive attack, so that's really big. Anytime you can get that additional kill, it's going to help us as well and give us additional energy. Always big. So yeah, as you can see, Kang easily cleaned up. Gambit's almost done as well, but obviously at this point, we have to go through the taunt that Rogue has enacted. So once that's cleared through, personally, I think good targets would be Red Hulk or Hela. Seeing as Hela was squishier, I opted to do that, and at this point, we finally have enough turns and energy to actually activate Red Hulk's devastating ultimate, and it's going to be a good game. It does prompt the next wave accidentally. I wasn't expecting that, but that's okay, because many of the characters from the previous wave were already weakened quite a bit. And even though they got some fresh legs here, the point is that now we have this battle effect that's a huge debuff to their team. And yeah, it was just really good timing here, but I don't think this will be too bad for most folks, just because of the fact that this was really designed for handing it to the player, if you will. I think the lower difficulties were definitely easier, but also the fact that we just have all these respective upgrades now on all these teams at this point for the big version of Apocalypse, you know, really big, guys. So wow, like I started this journey in March, and now we're finally here, guys. We're finally here. We're gonna go through all the unlocks. So you can see here, I wanted to wait for this moment. The baby Apocalypse that got me through Dark Dimension 6. Huge credit to him, but now it's finally time to bring our Apocalypse up to where he should be, right? The 7 yellow stars. You know, it's great to finally see his combat power reflected. Now, mind you, I probably won't see this impacting me too much, maybe more so on a War and Crucible level, but it's great to finally finish this off of all the respective upgrades and bring him into his alternate form, right? All of his abilities getting better, as you can see, with these awakened materials, each one actually changing and actually for the better, right? His special, applying vulnerables, that's huge. Like, this is something I didn't have before. Now his ultimate costing 8, the bleed and the slow, and his passive essentially making, you know, the rest of his team better as well. Bringing us to almost 400k in total combat power. Absolutely huge, guys. So huge testament to the account. Big shout out to all the folks out there getting this far, unlocking big Apocalypse. It's no easy feat in the game. The amount of resources, materials took quite some time, and you guys recall, I got through and unlocked Super Scroll in Dark Dimension 6 using baby Apocalypse, so way before my big Apocalypse, and that's just because of the amount of resources that's actually needed for Apocalypse himself. So yeah, huge shout out to you folks out there going that route. I've tested that you can actually get Super Scroll as well, so really up to you guys. But yeah, really appreciate all of you joining me on my journey. It's been quite the fun. Thank you as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.